ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਜੀਵ ਤਵੰਦਾ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਨਮਸਕਾਰ ਆਦਾਬ ਦੋਸਤੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਾਚ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਾਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੇਅਰ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਗੰਭੀਰ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਡਿਸਕਸ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਆਖਿਆ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਕੋ ਮੰਦਾ ਆਖੀਏ जित जमे राजान तो सारे समझते हो इसका मतलब ये है कि this is basically to say that why we say bad stuff to the woman. Woman has given birth to all the great humans. So someone who creates and procreates and basically let our species move on. So they are very special. But from the civilization, start of the civilization, a lot of things have happened and changed. In primitive communism, if we go back thousands and thousands of years back, so it was a matriarchal society ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਮਦਰ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਸਮਾਜ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ mother was the head of the family and everyone was following. At that time the main job of the men was to hunt and to gather fruits. We didn't have a market economy, we had nothing like that, and the main job of the woman was to take care of the family, to nurture and to take care of everyone. So the man and the woman, they were part of a natural process which is not only there in humans, it's in many animals also. Animals also create their homes, small homes, even those birds they create it, and they live with their herd, they live with their group, they live with their children, they take care of their children. But as the market economy grew, and that has created a new thing, that is everything done for money, and that actually brought into attention that men who are doing jobs, who are working in factories, in industries, they are bringing in money. And since the barter system was gone, before the market economy or the monetary economy, the barter system was there, that if I have milk, I will give you the milk and I'll get wheat from you, or I'll give you some fruits and I will give you something else. So in that economy, that society stayed for millions and millions of years. But in couple of 100 years, when we had industrial revolution, so we actually got into a situation where everything is done for the money. Money is the mode of exchange. Money matters. So everything is seen in terms of money. And at that point of the time of the society or civilization, what started happening? One who makes money is superior. He is productive. And no country in the world has, to my knowledge, added the work done at home as a productive work. And in that process, the respect and the power of the women became lower, lower and lower, and that led to a conflict on the basis of who earns for the family. So all the work done, which is very productive, very important, has gone to the backside. I'll just give you an example of life. For example, there was a time we used to ride the bicycles, and then we were very healthy. We changed the technologies, and today we have cars. And we are getting obesity, we are getting diabetes, we are getting blood pressure, we are getting strokes and all that stuff. And now what we do? We take our car to go to a gym so that we can ride a bicycle. So the society goes through these circles, and those changes affect human life. And same is the human relations. And since the money became important, the role of women became less respectful. And that created many movements in the world, and one of them is called feminism. All these movements across the globe divided the humans. They divided the people on different political opinions and different thinking. And even if we go for the feminism, there are so many different shades and forms of feminism. I have a great group today, and I have young people, I have older people, I have university educated people, and we have students of grade 6 and grade 9. So let me introduce the panel today who will be discussing this issue. I have Harook, grade 9 student. I have Kabir, grade 6 student. Miss Amber, grade 9 student. I have Sonam. She is a teacher and she's a university educated. I have Miss Seemagul, who is a realtor, and she also has university education. I have Miss Gulrang. I'm sorry. It's a little less familiar name for me, Gulrang. So she is also a university educated, and I will start discussion with her because she went to Istanbul and to present a paper on feminism in Istanbul University, so which is in Turkey, I believe. So what is feminism?
Well, feminism is something that affects us all, obviously, in the long run. And essentially what we're saying, and we previously discussed about this too, that it essentially all we're saying is that men and women are equal, right? Obviously, there's many parts of it, but it does affect us economically, socially, and politically in our everyday lives. So we all go through it. So if women are affected, it also affects men too in the long run. So that's all it essentially is. So I don't want to add on to it and say that, oh, women are better than women or men are better than women. So it's not at all what we're saying. Is that's the only definition.
So how the feminist movement is affecting the world politics, Gulrang?
The feminist movement, I think it's benefiting women.
No. My question is how it's affecting the world politics.
The word politics?
Yes.
How it's affecting it?
Yes. So you see in United States or in Europe or in Canada, so how these feminist movements, they are affecting political parties, political movements, and what's happening?
I think it depends like what you've gone through in life to share your opinion. So I obviously am saying it as an immigrant of what I've been through life. So if you ask about someone else who have grown up here obviously and or is from Canada and from another culture, she will have a different opinion. So I think it means something different to different individuals because of what we've been through. You become what you've lived, right?
Okay. So what is your ideas, Miss Gill, about feminism?
I believe very strongly in feminism. I believe that women have been literally pushed in a corner for years on end. We have definitely got different physical capabilities and caliber, but mentally we may be ahead. I'm saying maybe with great caution because, again, you know, it's the subject that you choose that you're speaking about that would differentiate how the outlook of the common man is. But you know, a lot of things I was saying is one of the things that I'm particularly against is a lot of the time children, offspring, are recognized by their father's name as versus a mother's name, whereas the mother is the bearer of the child. She has brought him or her into life, has then sustained life, has then nurtured life. Yet in this world, men always get the onus and the responsibility or the branding as being the father of the child or being recognized as that. So that I'm against. As well as a realtor, I've had many instances, I cannot tell you how many, where I have been in so many words sometimes or sometimes not so categorically been told that I should be at home looking after my children, or I'm a bad mother because I'm also working. So feminism really for me is an important aspect to bring to surface to the whole world something that's important, which is that women do have the strength to survive.
So we have a young man, Mr. Kabir. Kabir, you as a boy, what do you think? Should women and men should be considered equal, and they should have equal rights, and they should do all the jobs simultaneously?
Personally, yes. I believe that women and men should also have equal rights because we can't just let the woman take off all the weight on our shoulders. We need to take it equally.
Okay. Okay, so Amber, you are a grade 9 student. So what do you think about feminism?
I think personally, I believe in gender equality and women's rights, especially as it contributes to our daily lives. If a woman is put down because of her her gender, then that's not fair on her or on any other woman, because we all should and deserve our rights as humans.
Okay, Ms. Sonam, so you're also educated from university. So what's your take on feminism? Do you think that this is doing good to the woman?
I feel like whenever someone hears the word feminism and they automatically think that the society's attacking men and saying that they haven't created an equal opportunity for us. But what it really comes down to is just being treated equally. So it means having the same rights, so having the freedom, having the choices, and having the ability to make decisions equally. It doesn't mean that since women have the ability to give birth, doesn't mean that they have to stay home and work. They should have the choice to be able to work.
Okay, so what's your take?
My take is that feminism to me means that you're considered equal and looked at equally. Despite the situation and despite the environment, you're considered the same. Regardless if you're going through a bad time or a good time, regardless if you're a woman or a man, the society recognizes you as someone that is equal in the eyes, as equally created. Biologically, we might be different, but our roles can be very, very similar.
Okay, so I'll go back to Gulrang. You said that women and men should be considered equal, and there are some theories they say that women and men are not equal in terms of physical strength. So what's the position of feminists on this, that they are in same physical strength? If we see all Olympic records, the records of men and women are pretty different in all sports. What's your take on that?
We're not fighting for that. We're not saying that if you're telling me that you might be able to pick up something heavier than me, sure. I that's not what my battle is against the world. My battle is that all we want really is to have be able to have an opinion, because I think the hardest thing for men to accept is that women are actually able to speak up. They're able to have an opinion. It's for them, it's like, I'm sorry that I have an opinion, like, why are we sorry about that? Why are we sorry that we can speak up about it finally? And so, like, when men corner a really good job, high-paying job, they're celebrated because, oh my God, you're providing for your family. You have a really good job, like, even though they have kids at home, and women get a job, it's like, are you sure you want it? You have 3 kids at home.
And I think I want to say something here.
Yeah, so why?
When you talked about sports, I think what's happening is we're being very generic. We're painting the sports picture totally on the basis of how men are performing. We never highlight the cases where women have outshined. And for example, Mary Kom. She is a boxer, and she is now, I think, won her 7th title as a woman. She has come forward in the sporting world.
But can she really fight with a male boxer?
Well, I'm sorry,
there's
all
no
sports.
competition that lets them. Guess who took care of her kids when she was competing in the fights?
That's
her
right.
husband.
There are some components that all sports persons have to follow.
Is there any
build.
athletic event where a women's record is better than men? Any? So
I have to be honest.
Whether or not.
I think we should all
categories are different. Their categories are different.
If you're running and it takes a 100-meter run, so how many seconds it take? Is there any record where the woman has outshined the man?
that's
No, it's not a question of opportunity.
Sure.
Women are doing their independent
That's exactly
race.
the point I'm trying to make.
No, you have to understand. If women run themselves and they take 4 seconds to cover 100 meter, and men are taking 2 seconds, so that my question is there any record where even in their own race or in their own all those athletic events, anywhere women has a better record than men?
Couldn't this be the very reason that women are not getting opportunities to outshine? Is because
those
when
were
a
playing
man
at the
does
Olympic
something
level,
really
ma'am.
well,
Those were playing at the Olympic level.
when a man does something really well, it's all power and glory, and it's slapped on all the editorials. But you look at, for example, in the acting world, if you look at Priyanka Chopra, she has done so much for India as a country in bringing the name forward in worldwide countries, especially in the US. she was criticized for the outfit that she wore to the Grammys as versus all the things she's done and a legacy that she's created. Because women are always objectified and they are treated as commodities. So whether it's a
why
sports
they're
world,
considered as commodities?
it's because men don't let this change. It's happening in my day-to-day life. I, as a realtor, I find it all the time. You are put down for being a woman. You are.
Do you think that Angela Jolie can be controlled by any man? No. Why she then still do all those advertisements and everything? It is, isn't it for money?
I think she's made her money, and life is
see.
all about choices.
Sir.
She's at a point
So
where she
that
has the
means
luxury of choice.
that means
she has
that
the luxury
means,
of
no,
choice.
that means no man is telling her to do what she's doing.
In that instance, but she's earned herself that luxury.
But she's still
to make that
objectified.
decision
My
herself.
argument is about objectifying. She's still, even after making millions and millions of dollars, she's still objectified, and she's actually part of that.
I don't understand, and I don't understand which angle you're approaching this from, but I think she has the luxury of choice because she's earned herself accolades, she earned herself enough money,
No, I
and
fully
she can
agree.
now stay back and
So I really appreciate. My
This is
only
the
question.
again of how you think women are so fragile. Like for example, like let alone Olympics. Like when I go to the gym and I can lift a lot heavier than some of the guys can do, like when I would do deadlift, but some of the guys like look at me after they finish working out, like trying to take off the weights, like, are you sure? Why? Because I look like a skinny petite girl, and they don't see that because they see us girls being so fragile and not being able to handle that.
That's Angela's painted.
What you want to say about it?
Well, I guess mom is true.
Okay, all right, Amber.
In my opinion, going back
Are
to
you
what
scared?
you said,
scared?
earlier about races and sports and who can do better. That's not really what women are here for. Who can do better, and even men shouldn't be about like who can do better. It's between like our responsibilities as humans and what our take is on our daily lives, and to care about ourselves and people who we care for. It shouldn't be, oh, you're assigned to your son.
Great point, yeah.
Because you gave birth to him doesn't mean you have to be with him for the rest of the life.
So you all say that.
No, she has the right point because we're not saying that like you're better than us. We're not saying that, and every day we're battling to say that we're the same thing.
Okay.
Because men constantly
give
look
us the
down
same
upon
opportunity.
You. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next.
Even our
next thing.
government. If our government's not doing it, how are you going to get answers from other people?
Okay, so you guys say that men and women are same, but a lot of researchers have proven.
Rights we're talking
proven.
about.
We're talking about rights rather than
rights.
physical
It's the same
constitution.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Women are different, men are different.
So
It's not
a
that
lot
they're
of
the
researchers are there.
Yes.
Women and men, they have different type of personalities.
But are
and
those
they're-
researchers
Sir,
done by
sir,
men?
sir,
Yeah.
I
Are
think
those researchers
no,
done by
sir,
men?
I specifically said economically, socially, politically, not sexually. So their sexual orientation has nothing to do with us being the same. We're not saying that. I'm not saying me and you or me and Kabir are the same. We're absolutely different biologically. So that's completely different. We're talking about our rights here.
And
that
also,
can also-
statistics is dictated by the strata chosen and by who is doing that research. So if you're going to choose a group of chauvinistic men to do a research about what men and women's rights must look like, you're going to get a biased result.
Well,
this can
the
also
researchers I'm
lead-
talking about, I don't know whether all those psychologists who have given all those theories are chauvinistic men. If you think that Mr. Hans Isik, who was born in Germany, moved to England, and then he became a famous psychologist. He wrote 75 books, and if you think his whole agenda was to be male chauvinist and to
I'm not
to
pointing
talk
him out.
negative about women, that's perfectly your choice. I won't comment on
if
that.
it
So if
Okay.
some male was to act like too effeminate, or if some woman was to act too much like a male, that would just bring like gender discrimination and whatever. But if a woman chooses to do something out of the ordinary, if a woman chooses to cry, somebody could come up to her and be like, oh, you're acting like a little baby, to grow up a
Yes,
little bit.
like
However,
if-
you
yeah.
portray that woman as that.
Exactly, because if you have an opinion, it's like, oh, you're too opinionated. If you don't have an opinion, it's like you're too
too
weak.
shy.
You're gonna
You can't
listen
talk.
anyway, yeah.
It's like you can't win either way.
Yeah.
We are always being
was-
judged by what we say, what we do, what we wear.
Yeah, what do you have to say about about that.
There's nothing we
We're
can
being
do
typecast.
that
Basically,
like.
look, guys, I have my personal opinions about everything, but right now, as a host, I am not presenting my personal opinions. I have a wealth of research conducted by different people, and they have different theories. I'm just posing those questions to these young, intelligent women so that we can learn what they think about it. So I'm not going to present my personal views as a host. There's no point of it because I have to give you opportunity to present your views.
Women and Kabir.
Huh?
He's confused, women and men.
Well,
Okay, let's go back to the personality thing. So we're not saying that yes, women and men do have different personalities, but then again, so do men and men. So do women and women. Like, it doesn't mean that they should be treated differently just because they are different. Every individual is different. It's about equality. It's about having the exact same opportunity to be someone or be something and have a voice.
And talking
Yeah,
about
that's-
personality, when you think about it, or even like psychology, that can always evolve, and that's based on what you see and what you perceive.
Yeah.
So it's not really about women or
Yeah.
men having different personalities. It's about how they perceive and how they choose to act.
Yep, and when we were talking about expiry date on our last show, it was like women have an expiry date, and that sucks. So like on TV especially, a lot of women, so that's aging,
Outrageous,
right? Yeah, or once you reach a certain age, it's like you're not presentable enough to be on TV, for
Yeah.
example. And a lot of stars on TV face this because a lot of them get fired from their job
do,
for TV shows.
do you know who is the national host for CTV?
No, one second. So they do
who-
get
who-
inspired from it, and you know
no.
what?
Let me
Men
guess, a
and
male?
men on the
Huh?
opposite,
Let me guess,
sir.
a male.
No.
Sir,
I think
men
you
on
have to
the
be
opposite
tyrant.
are men on the opposite are seen as more good looking. The more
glamorous.
older they get, the more they're seen as
No,
you
but
know.
who is
if they're
CTV's
older.
I think
national?
That's just
it's
one TV,
being
sir. I'm
relentless.
talking
No,
about
I
in
think it's
general,
that
in
woman being
media.
relentless.
Hollywood as
Yeah.
well.
It's relentlessness.
Yeah,
it's
just because
not.
of a girl's or a woman's intellectual abilities, to be put down just because you're of that gender is so wrong. Because
Because you're talking to me personally?
no,
Huh?
as a whole, as a
Generically.
community, as a society.
That's very sexist. That if you consider all the men being against women or they are they treat they're male chauvinist, that's pretty offensive.
Not in
Most
that sense
males.
that most males.
But-
If it wasn't most males, we wouldn't be standing here talking about this
Exactly.
topic right now.
Why are there not
Don't know why
not
we
more
chose
males right now talking here
The
about
reason is that the male give a lot of opportunity
Because
to
they
other
have all the
women.
rights. They have nothing else to ask for. They've
Well,
got everything handed to them.
There's a male host here who invited all the young ladies to be part of this. So all male are not.
We volunteered.
We
But
don't.
on
We
a
never said
serious
all
note,
males.
On a
Never
serious
said all
note,
male.
On a serious note, I think it's about balance. It is about humanism in general. There is no. It doesn't matter what you call feminism. You could call it a rose, for all I care. The point is that women do feel this feminism, if it's been around from the 60s or from the 40s, I really don't understand it as that. I understand it with my day-to-day life as a woman and the challenges that I face. Despite being a very much of a go-getter, I still get this every single day where I get to be told or I'm made to feel less than, and that must change, whether it starts from textbook culture, whether it starts from the point of view of really open-ended conversations, whether it means interviews like this and conversations. It needs to be more globalized, it needs to be more spoken about.
Yeah, as Sonam said earlier, if there is no people that are judging or discriminating our gender, we wouldn't be standing here today.
Okay, the modern women's movement, it is derailed. That's what is said, that the feminists are no longer content with equal rights. Now the demand is exclusive special privileges. And the original women's movement from the last century demanded equal rights, that is voting rights, eligibility, general equality before the law. Today, not many will refuse women this. But they are talking about bra burning and all that stuff.
Those are
Wait,
basic
sir.
human rights, though. Those are basic human rights. I shouldn't be fighting for saying, let me vote.
Yeah.
Let me drive a car. Those
Men-
are basic human rights.
Men have fought for their
We're all
rights.
humans, regardless of the DNA buildup. We're all humans. So we should have those equal
So men have fought for their rights. They
how
asked for the
come
paternity
women
leave.
cannot?
Okay.
Where is their input, as far as I'm concerned, like you were saying, as a nurturer, their input is minimal. In most families, I wouldn't like to generalize.
There's another allegation on the feminists that they destroy the families.
That's
What
not
you-
true.
Because they're getting jobs and education, and their husbands are too lazy to stay home, and now it's showing.
Some males don't see the real story.
Do you think that all male are lazy and they don't contribute anything to the family?
Coming
We're not
from-
saying all male.
It's about privilege. It's about privilege. We have grown
She
up.
said that male are lazy.
Some. And
Some
actually
males.
most.
We have
No, we're
conditioned
talking
them
about a
to be.
specific situation in which the
Generally,
woman
not
would work.
all.
But
Do
even
you
okay.
feel like you can be lazy sometimes because your mom and sisters take care of a lot of things?
She doesn't do anything.
Well, I can talk about my household. My children are treated equally. I have a son, I have 2 daughters. My son doesn't get any special privileges. He has to pull his weight.
Okay, so another important implication which many people who oppose feminism
Yes.
is that basically it
Pardon.
has led to high level of abortions. Millions and millions of abortions are taking place every year.
I totally disagree that that's the only reason why feminism.
No. It's basically being said because of this ideology. So the women, if they don't want kids, they don't want kids, and in that process, lives are being done.
Okay,
That's a personal choice. Abortion-
exactly.
It could be forced too. It could be like you'd be helpless because you can't like physically do it. You have some medical condition, you can't do it. There are various situations when considering abortion. And
Well,
going back,
everyone-
if you
see,
can, okay, if
Haroop,
abortion is a way
everyone-
to
see,
do it, and you can consider because
Haroop, we understand if there's a medical condition and abortion is required, that's a different thing. But the millions of abortions which are taking place, these are not requirement of medical condition. These are basically that some people they just don't want.
Okay.
Sir, but who said the woman was behind this? It could have been the man.
See,
what
in
happened
most
with
countries
Hitler?
of the world, it's the woman's right to decide it whether they have to go for abortion or not. So that's.
So you're
Sir,
saying
I would
that
like to say
now that they
something.
actually have the right to get an abortion, they have the right to do these activities, that's good. Who cares if divorce rates are going up or abortion rates are going up? The difference is that now they have the choice. They have the ability to make a decision for their own life that's going to affect their future.
But
Before, women didn't have that choice.
Isn't it somewhere we should think a little deeper also that this is self-aggrandizement and selfishness, that for our own business interests, our own careers, we take away those lives?
What is there to
How
say
is that
the
being
only one getting blamed
selfish?
for
No,
this.
but why are the? How do you know that the woman was actually forced to have that baby?
Sir, adding on.
Was not in sync with the idea of having a baby, was forced or into a position where she is, maybe she was raped, who knows? There could be tens of things that happened between then and now, and she's come to a point where she thinks she mustn't bring a life into this world because it isn't the right thing, or she cannot do enough for that child.
Like adding on, what happened is Hitler's mom was thinking of an abortion, but a male forced her to not have it. So that can show that male can.
That shows that male can.
That's fine. And it also,
could have been changed or prevented.
and yes, also, and if that would have been done, it's possible that Einstein's mother may also have opted for the abortion, and then we didn't have the Einstein.
Yeah.
But the best thing is a woman could have chosen that to abort their child because they felt the world wasn't. They weren't ready for the world because
the world wasn't a good place.
If bringing a child into a dangerous world is like the worst thing they could possibly do. Maybe like aborting the child.
So
isn't
is
as
the
bad.
word
Okay,
now?
let's leave abortion for a second. Let's talk, because this is such a men think they have an opinion on this, but really they don't, because it's not their body. So at the end of the day, women are going to do what they want to do with their bodies. Let's talk about cosmetic surgery. Why are women so criticized for getting certain things done on their body? Oh, you look like this, oh, you look like that. It's their body. It's like if you look old, it's like, okay,
Can
you look
anyone
old,
force
I'm gonna
women
get
to do
you,
anything?
No, 1 second, I'm gonna get you fired from your media job, let's say. But if you get if you get cosmetic surgery, oh, you look too fake now. It's like every corner that you touch on, you're being criticized on. So
And it's
you
often
can't-
the men doing that.
Exactly. Because women are not saying that to women.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next issue which is being raised against the feminist movement, and that's called the feminist real motivation is hatred of the white man. Feminists often express that their cause is to save their suffering fellow sisters from men's oppression and exploitation. In Islamic culture, women are so legally incapacitated and discriminated as they practically can be. As Lars Hedro has pointed out, women in Muslim culture are heavily suppressed. How can it be that committed feminists don't organize one demonstration after another out of walls, Moses, and other places, Muslim ghettos, against the extensive Muslim oppression of women?
Okay, it's not about hatred, it's about privilege. Who has privilege in this world? White men. That's why it's looked upon to make them the target. If all the white men in the world were to come together and support women's rights, do you think there would be a problem?
Because history bears precedence to what's happened to the women that come forward to run against this kind of oppression. Whether it is women who come forward to say, basically, it's not okay to be an outcast. Very few women are willing to come forward and be the outcast and be outspoken because, for example, I'm not sure what the movement is called, but, basically honor killings as well, for example. There is precedence. There are examples by which you're dictated and your behavior is dictated. If women have been killed before because they've gone out with somebody out of their caste, they are killed. Both the couple is killed, right? But if other women were to come forward and say it's okay to do this, she'll probably get killed. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of that. So there's a fear factor that comes into it too, because humans are born to be fearful as well. Humans.
Anybody want to add on this?
No.
Okay.
You're exactly right, because the case that we were talking about, what happened to Farkhunda back home, how she was stoned to death. A lot of women wanted to stand up for her because they felt horrible for it, but she didn't want that to happen to her too, because if she said, I'm going to stand up for her, then I'm going to get stoned to death as well.
What about Kandil Baloch? There's a huge episode that was built up around her. She was painted to be somebody she was not because she was an outcast. She was daring enough to go onto social portals from the middle of Pakistan. People would not accept that. And the minute that she came out of her shell, she was surrounded and she was killed by her own brother.
A woman that speaks out for her opinion, or like a person that wants to speak up for themselves, is said to be like
An outcast, yeah.
An outcast, and be put down because of so
Or
many...
too daring.
Because
what happened?
Abnormal.
It's
Yeah,
abnormal.
exactly. It's two opinions.
And who
how is it
normalizes
abnormal?
things? Who
Yeah.
makes
How is
the
it
normal?
abnormal
Who makes the normal?
Exactly.
when all
It's not the
humans
norm.
should have the
The
right?
right to say that.
And you'll be happy to know that the norm is made by the men, and this is where feminism came about.
Okay,
It's
so
because there were women
there's
that
another-
noticed that.
Okay,
There's
you're
another
talking
case.
about geniuses like Einstein or whoever else. They were different. That's why they changed a lot of things in the world.
Privilege.
So yeah,
No,
exactly.
I simply asked him question when he said that
Yeah.
if Hitler's mother would have aborted, and I asked the question the same way, if Einstein's mother would have aborted Einstein,
But that never happened.
But did
but
Einstein follow the norm?
so it
and-
doesn't matter. But if that happened, so we would have lost that opportunity.
There's
So
a
when we
whole
abort,
idiom.
we may have lost many
No, but in
Einsteins.
Einstein's case, the mom wanted to have it. Hitler and mom did not want to have it.
But see,
she
there's a
knew
very old
about
idiom.
How do you know that Einstein's mom wanted
because
to have
there's
it?
no case about it. They're pretty, there would be
Sir,
an article about it by now.
There's an idiom that says behind every successful man is a woman.
Yeah.
Why isn't this flipped around?
No, there's,
Because men don't allow this to be flipped around.
first
Why
of all,
isn't it that the
I will
successful
change
woman?
Because they
what you
want to
said.
be
I
the
will change
star of the
it.
show.
Behind every successful man, there's an exhausted woman.
There is an exhausted woman, but why cannot be the flip statement be true? Why cannot be behind every successful woman there is a man? Why is that statement not
Because
made?
men don't support
Have
women.
to be behind the male. Why does she always have to be one step behind him?
Okay,
Why
so let's
can't she
move
be
on. Let's
ahead?
move on to the
Yeah,
next.
even in Sikh weddings, you see when they do the lama, it's like the woman is behind the man.
But there are some lamas
exactly.
in the Hinduism. In Hinduism, there are some lamas where the woman does come forward.
Yes.
Either
So
side by side or ahead of one another. She should not be put behind a male because of like.
And these
So what is Mr.
positions are
What is Mr. B's opinion?
In-
Should women be behind, man be behind, or what should be?
You don't want
Let
that.
a young boy at least give him to this small male give some opportunity to speak. You guys are overpowering everyone.
What do you think, Kabir?
My opinion is that people can be a little sensitive, meaning that if a male does come in front, it's just ritual, and I know it does seem.
But why is ritual in a way that?
I don't know. That's the question. It's religion. I don't know why.
Okay, but can't you tell that it was created by men?
Obviously.
Okay, but like in our culture, for example, okay, when we go to special events,
So, wait,
women are
hold on,
sitting
hold
with
on,
their
hold
children in their hands. Okay, they need food too. But guess what that tradition is? Men have to go first. They're more, they're the more
It's more
dominant
apt.
one.
Yeah,
It's
but
more
listen,
respectful
what
for them to
happened
go
is-
get food first. But why can't the women go? Some of them who are breastfeeding, don't you think that they
Exactly.
need to
Here's
be
what
first?
happened to me. You'll find it funny. Usually when I go to parties, I get hungry, right?
Yeah.
So what I do,
But
I leave
stay
my
last.
seat. I leave my seat, and I'm like the first one with the plate and standing by the line.
Yeah.
Everyone's asking me, "Oh, why are you standing?"
Yeah, exactly. You have to let the men go first. Okay, that's why.
I've never seen a party.
All right, guys.
That's right, Kabir?
All right, guys. Thank you very
No.
much. Thank you very much. Our time is up.
Okay.
And before we complete the program, so first of all, I will say that my personal views are different from the views or the questions I
Projected.
raised here because I believe I don't use the vocabulary which the young ladies they were using. That is feminism. My vocabulary is different. My vocabulary is that everyone should be independent. It doesn't matter men, it doesn't matter women, it doesn't matter anybody. So it doesn't matter that you are a Muslim, you are a Hindu, you are a Christian, or you are a Sikh. It doesn't matter you are a white, you are black, you are brown, or you are what. It doesn't matter which race you belong, to which creed you belong. It doesn't matter what your your sexual orientation is. Canada being a country which respect human rights, and if we go by the world level, there is a United Nations Declaration on Human Rights. So basically, everyone should have freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and freedom of choice. So those are important things. I believe that all these different movements sometimes they actually derail the process of emancipation of women from the cruelty, from exploitation. So the most important thing which should be done by everyone, not by just women, it should be done by everyone, men, women, or those who are not men or women. So they should all work together to make world a better place where there is no one exploited. I thank you very much for all the guests, including Gulrang, Seemaji, Amber, Sonam, Kabir, and Harup. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
ਸੋ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਾਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸਮਾਪਤ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਸੰਜੀਵ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਦਿਓ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਨਮਸਕਾਰ, ਆਦਾਬ।